Okay, everyone. If you don't know, this is my mom.
Hello.
Okay, so I've been trying to get her to do this for years. We wanted her to write a book because she has such a crazy life story with a bunch of like health issues and childhood abuse and all that crazy stuff. So let's get into it. I figure why not have her share her story for social media instead? You know, quarantine time, and it's a perfect time to like get on YouTube and get on social media. So, yeah. So, where do you want to start? Like with your first what was your first like what age and what was your first like health issue, would you say? Like bigger health issue?
I started with abnormal pap smears when I was 18 years old. And the war was back and forth, abnormal, normal, abnormal, normal. I used to get a lot of, when I used to get my menstruation, I would get a lot of blood clots and very heavy menstruation. Some of them were almost hemorrhage-like. And so going to my 19 years, they're checking me. Doctors didn't think to check for cancer because I was way too young. But it so happened that I was going through the symptoms and effects of uterine cancer.
And at 18?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it took so long where they were going back and forth and telling me I'm too young to be checked for this and too young to be checked for that. Uterine cancer back in the 80s, was thought to be cancer for women, in their 50s and up. And so at 19, the doctors were like, no. So it went like that for years, And then I had my boys. I had miscarriage.
They didn't really believe you, like the doctors.
No, because they kept saying I was too young. They said the abnormal pap smears were just, it was fine, because they would be normal, abnormal, and abnormal. So they were like, oh, you'll be fine. So it went like that for years, and so I would just have heavy menstruation, and I would hemorrhage here and there. I didn't think it was normal. That's why it's so important to listen to your body and start to know your body, because I was so naive back in the day. I believed what the doctors said. It was golden. Whatever they said, I did. If they thought that there was nothing to worry about, I didn't worry about it.
Yeah.
I was very naive back in the day, and I didn't question my doctors. That's how I was brought up. And so it went on like that for a lot of years, and I had my boys. I had a miscarriage, and then just before I had you,
you have me at 27.
Yes.
Right?
So just before I had you, I was getting really bad, and so they decided, let's do a scraping and see,
So wait,
so
hold on. So that was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, like 10 years.
Yeah, it was
before.
Like back and forth, and my doctors were saying, there's nothing wrong, you're young, don't worry about it.
For 10, almost 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, at this point I had my miscarriage, I, had my boys, and then I became pregnant with you. And I went to get what they call tubal ligation, was get my tubes tied, not to have any more children after you. And then I was still going to go all those problems I was having with, gynecological problems. But then after you, I went through a big hemorrhage, and I was in a lot of pain, went back to the doctors. So they decided to do a scraping where they scrape the walls of your vaginal walls. They scrape them, and they test them. They test to see if there's any cancer or whatever. And he was like, well, at this point, you're like a 2, before they even started the scraping and stuff like that. You're like a 2, stage 2 cancer.
Okay.
And
which is amazing.
you know,
just that it didn't get
worse. They're like, oh, we'll do the scraping, everything will be fine, blah, blah, blah. I had the scraping done, and yet at that point, yes, I was 27, but yes, I'm still with the mindset that my doctors know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still young. I'm still kind of naive, you know. So I kept going by what my doctor said. So even though now I'm starting to like, you know, I'm like, something's going on here, something's not right, and I'm starting to doubt. So then when I had you and I had the scraping, they said everything should be fine, you know. We'll take the walls of your uterus out, and you should be fine. There shouldn't be no cancer.
Yeah.
You know. So then, a week later, after that was done, I come into the office. Doctor calls me in. I come into the office. He's to give me the results of, you know, what they tested, and just his face alone said it all. And I was like, just come out and said it. And he was like, we don't understand, but when, you know, you were at 2, and then we took the walls out, and now you are at 4. So now we're gonna have to go in there right away and remove, you know, give you a full hysterectomy. You're gonna keep your ovaries, but it's still gonna be a full hysterectomy.
Wow.
You know.
Wait, so you had, this is ovarian.
Uterus.
Okay. Uterus cancer. Okay.
They kept my ovaries because there was nothing wrong with my ovaries, but they still call it a full hysterectomy. And so, now meantime, when they were before I had the full hysterectomy, I would always say to my doctors, I only had 2 children. At the time, they only had 2 boys. I kept saying, you know, it doesn't matter. I don't need to have any more children. You know, just do whatever. Take it all out. I don't care. Take it all out. You know. And then they were like, no, you're too young for that. And then we get to here, and you know, now I have stage 4 cancer, and I had to give me full hysterectomy, and I had to get my round of chemo and my round of radiation.
I don't think I knew about the uterine.
That's what
cancer.
I started with.
I don't think I knew about that one.
It's just been so many cancers and so many problems with me. But yeah, that was my first cancer diagnosis. I started with uterus cancer.
Okay.
You know, and that's why every time I speak to other women about this, I always let them know, listen, no matter how young you are, if you think something's wrong, even though you could be naive, doctors they're human beings that make mistakes. You know, learn your body.
Yeah.
And most important, to learn your body, because this is, you know, I just kept going by my doctors, and something could have been done way before that. Yeah. And thank God that I went into remission after all that. Of course, I lost my hair, and you know, I have to go through all the chemo and all the radiation. It was tough, but thank God I survived that cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after, like, this, it was a few years later.
Yeah, a few years later, you know, I was very important to do self breast exams in the bathroom.
This was 30.
It's very hard for us.
30-something.
Yeah, you know, all the years also, I've had so many things done, because I not only have I had cancer, but I've had so many problems in my body. Yeah. I've had over 20 surgeries.
Yeah.
So all the dates and everything get all smushed together. That's why I have it all written down, because I can never remember. So, you know, I might, the dates might be off here and there. But a few years later, you know, I myself felt something, and went to the doctors, and I had breast cancer. Well, first, you know, they put a needle, an incisional biopsy. They did. They took out the lump, checked it, turned out to be cancer. You know, they did a full lumpectomy. I didn't want my breasts gone then. Yeah. That's the beginning of it all. It wasn't so bad. The only thing I had to go, I did the lumpectomy, and I just needed radiation. I didn't need chemo for that. For that first.
We were saying you were gonna say it's important to do self.
Oh yeah, it's
self
very important because it's hard for me because I have fibrocystic breasts. That's what they call them. Whole bunch
Which
of
is
little
what
lumps.
I have as well.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of little lumps, and which should be checked because you never know. Sometimes they're just fatty masses, you know. But it's very important to self-teach yourself how to do it, and the best way is in the shower, how to go and always check under your underarms also, because you will find lumps in here. And that's why I found my second one. Very, very important to know your body. And so then I went through that.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, I found another lump. And it's always been my left breast. I've never had any problems with my right breast. Okay. And through all this, people will say, well, how come you never went and had your breast taken off or whatever? You know, it gets to each his own. You know, you weigh your options, and at that point, yeah, you know, I wasn't confident. My self-esteem was always very low. I've had a very abusive childhood, and so my self-esteem was very, very low. And so, you know, I
like taking
my breast,
yeah, would
off,
make it even.
Was like, oh my God, you know, it was stupid to think that way, but then that's how I thought, you know, I won't be a woman, and whatnot. And so I chose to do the lumpectomies and the chemo and the radiation, and knock on wood, thank God, I'm you know, I survived 3 breast cancer actually. If you to see my breast, though I did not get the whole thing taken out, this whole half of my breast is indented in of so much breast that they have taken out from my cancer, because it's always been here.
You're left with like indentation.
It's a huge indentation because it's almost like a hole inside my breast, because so much mass, so much tissue was taken out and had lumpectomy.
Oh, and with this, by the way, so with the second time was worse, right? Because you lost your hair.
Yes, it was worse. Yeah.
So the second time, and the second time you chose to get on chemo, that was the difference, right?
Yeah. No, the first time I didn't need to get on chemo. The second time I had to get on chemo. And at this point, I still didn't get the mastectomy. One, the doctor had, you know, again, I went mostly by the doctor. There was no history of any type of cancer in my family. So genetically speaking, there was no history.
And like heart issues.
Heart issues and diabetes, but never any kind of cancer. Okay. And no breast cancer. So, you know, I made these decisions and I did that, and I didn't take off my breast. But the third time, I decided I might just remove my breast. Yeah. And I did sit down with the psychiatrist, psychotherapy. You know, you have to sit down with these people, make sure you're in your right mind to have your breast taken off and all that stuff. And I was not, because like I said, my self-esteem was at a very